Hello guys, welcome to my Touhou Mystia's Izakaya tips and tricks video. I will be focusing on helping you have the most effective playthrough of the game based off what I have experienced and found that works. These are my thoughts and my thoughts alone. So a quick rundown of the game. Mystia's Izakaya is a cooking game in the Touhou universe. There are other games and I believe an anime. Usually the games are bullet hells, and I'm not into those. But there are other games out there that I have seen, mostly on Steam, that aren't bullet hells, so I might be interested in playing some of those. Your main character is Mystia. She opens up the Izakaya to make money to one day sing on stage. But there is also a deeper underlying plot as well of a very powerful entity ending the world if Mystia can't satisfy her appetite. So that right there is the plot, essentially, of the game. Now we will go over some tips and tricks. I will be going over cooking, relationships, tasks, and time management. So let's get started with some cooking tips. Cooking is the most important component of the game, but it is not very complex. It's actually quite easy to do. After choosing ingredients to put in your dishes, you play a rhythm game to cook them. Succeeding in the rhythm game gives additional buffs, such as being able to throw food and drinks to the table so you don't have to leave the kitchen. That's one of my favorite perks. There are 3 types of guests that visit the restaurant. You have normal, which are just the basic NPCs that come, but you also have rare and special guests. The problem is remembering what ingredients are needed to cook the dishes for the rare and special guests. I will refer to any guest that is not a normal guest as special guests, just because most of the tips are kind of centered around the rare and special guests together. I found myself constantly flipping to each of their descriptions in the journal. Like, your journal is your lifeline. One of the first tips I want to share is that you need to expand your Izakaya as fast as you can. You will have not only more customers, but you will also make more money, and there are perks that come with expanding your Izakaya. There are 3 expansions that you can look for to do at each location. So you will have an Izakaya at different locations in different areas, and each one could be expanded 3 times. With expanding the restaurant comes more room for stations, so they're your cooking appliances. I recommend having as many cooking stations as you can. At the beginning, you will only have 3 stations, and you have to be very selective with which ones you choose. You can decide which to pick based off the guests in the area you are opening up your restaurant in. For example, Yokai Trail, which is kind of the first area you start in, their guests will prefer grilled dishes, so you should definitely choose a grill as one of your station options. Meals can be tweaked to suit your special customers, which will also help with choosing the right cooking station. When cooking for your special guests, you want them to be as happy as possible. There are several levels of happiness that they have after being served a dish and drink. You want to aim for the highest, which has a pink speech bubble and usually comes with a buff from the guest, which is called a spell card. You want to get as many of those as possible. So here's the trick. To achieve this, it is best to add extra ingredients to the meals or dishes. For example, the Shrine Maiden, she may just say, I want a cheap meal, and then describe what drink she wants. But as you learn her tastes and is updated in the journal, it is best to include as many different traits, or as the game calls them, tags, in her meal. You will see in the journal that other than economical meals, she also likes fulfilling meals and maybe sweet or refreshing as well. So then from the options of dishes, you figure out which one best suits her taste, and then from there you will add other ingredients like onion or honey to a rice ball, let's say, to get the additional traits like that sweet and refreshing. But be careful when adding too many ingredients, because it can change the dish into something completely different. It can also fail adding an extra ingredient to it. When this happens, you will get a dark matter instead of the actual dish. You can look at some dishes in the journal to see if something can't be added to it. So it may say, this dish can't be greasy or something like that. So if something gives a greasy trait, it's best not to put that in there because it will most likely fail. Mostly figuring out is trial and error. So you just kind of have to test things and expect to fail sometimes. It's okay. Now, you may be wondering, oh, what about the normal guests? Like, we're focusing on the special guests and the rare guests. You get assistants, and your assistants are mostly going to be the ones kind of focusing on the normal guests. So they'll kind of handle your normal guests while you're handling the rare and special guests, which is really nice. You can unlock more assistants, I believe, as you expand the Izakaya, and eventually you can have a maximum of 3 different assistants. You'll get assistants as you go and unlock the different areas. Another tip is to find as many different ingredients and drinks as you can so that you can get as many of those traits you need as possible. When it comes to like buying ingredients, because you can buy ingredients or you can get them found around in the world, I like to kind of have a certain amount, like if possible, maybe about 50 of an ingredient, because what you do is you build out your menu, and when you do so, it's kind of based off of, okay, I have this many ingredients so I can make this many of this dish. You really won't know what will sell in your restaurant when you make the menu. You just kind of hope. I mean, they're going to order something, but you won't know if maybe my grilled lamb I'll sell 20 of. So you have to make sure you have enough of an ingredient to make at least, I would say, 20 to 30 of one recipe just to be safe. And then you're going to need ingredients for the next time you open your Izakaya on that next day. That's also something else to keep in mind when picking things or deciding which ingredients and stuff you need. So sometimes I'll have over 100 of an ingredient just to make sure I have enough to get through the day and not have somebody ordering something and I can't deliver it to them. Also, if you guys are enjoying this video so far, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I appreciate you all. Now we're going to go into relationships. Building relationships may not seem important, but you can get a lot of things out of building those relationships. You can get recipes, which you're going to need. You can get outfits. You can get ingredients, drinks, and some of the guests will offer you a gathering service, which is amazing. I absolutely love it, and I would recommend it being one of the first things you go for. So target the guests that will give you that service, because that helps you a lot with your time, because it takes like 30 minutes to gather ingredients. So they're handling all that heavy lifting for you, and then you can go and focus on other things. You can usually find the special guests scattered through the map in the different areas, except for one. As far as I know, I think it's just one. And I'm only talking about base game, guys. Like, there's quite a few DLC, I think up to like 5 or 6, but we're only talking about base game. I don't have any of the DLC yet. Chime down in the comments if you know which character I am referring to when I say that. Some easy ways to build relationships are to chat with them every day. So the characters you want to focus on, or maybe all the characters, chat with them as often as you can. Like, it's literally an option to chat. Invite the ones that you want to build relationships with first to the restaurant. The trick is to be based in one area, but invite the characters you want to build relationships with to the restaurant. Then that way they're traveling over to the restaurant, and then you can cook for them and everything and build their relationship out better. Cooking is probably the best way outside of tasks to build relationships with people, especially when you have that perfect pink happiness from them. So an example would be like, you want the Hakure Shrine Maiden to visit you, but you're based in the human village, so she may not really come to the Izakaya because it's not in her area. So you would invite her to visit your Izakaya while you're over in the human village. This builds your relationships with the guests of the human village and her as well. Tip-wise, make your recipes that will give you spell cards, which means you want to go for that peak happiness every time. That builds the bar up a lot quicker. There is bond levels in the game. Those are what I call the relationship stuff that you do. You want to build those bond levels up to the maximum, because that's when you start to get the tasks that'll give you outfits, gathering services, etc. Make sure you complete their tasks. Most tasks don't seem to have a time limit. I believe you can mostly handle your tasks and get them finished whenever you get them finished. You can keep track of all your tasks in your journal. Again, your lifeline. I would prioritize the gathering service first, since it takes so long to gather ingredients, as I mentioned earlier, because 30 minutes. But you need to sometimes prioritize getting recipes so you can complete tasks from other characters. So this character may offer you a recipe, but it may be more tailored to a different character. So you're going to need that recipe for both of them, possibly. So that's kind of it with the relationship. Let's talk about tasks. I have already mentioned some things about tasks, but just to reiterate, in order to get tasks, you have to build up your relationships with the characters. Tasks are the part of the relationship that help with ingredients, drinks, expanding the Izakaya, and some other things. If you don't focus on any other tasks, do the ones that will expand your Izakaya by talking to the cat girl Shen. You will also have to pay her for the expansions. They should have made Shen a shark, because she becomes your loan shark and comes for the money in so many days. A lot of the tasks you will be asked to do require you to make them a special dish. You may already have this recipe, or you may have to get it from a guest. A lot of times they will say, hey, I want to try a recipe from the moon, and they'll give you the recipe, and then you have to cook it for them and serve it to them in the restaurant when they come and visit. And then that'll complete the task for you. Again, you can check all of this information in your journal. All right, let's get into the time management, guys. Just about every cooking game is a time management game. You have to do something in a set amount of time, or make a set amount of money in a certain amount of time while your shift is open, stuff like that. In this game, not only are you cooking, you have a set amount of hours to do different things before opening up the Izakaya. This includes gathering ingredients and drinks, talking to your NPCs, walking between towns and areas, and of course there's just other different things you can do in the game. Moving between areas takes 30 minutes, but eventually you learn how to teleport. That takes 30 minutes to go to an area, but depending on the distance you have to travel, it's probably a better, quicker, less time consuming option. For example, Yokai Trail is right next to Human Village. So if you have to go to Yokai Trail for anything, make sure you finish up everything in the Human Village before you go back there. The last bit of information I want to share with you is you can cook dishes in your home ahead of time before opening the Izakaya. This is beneficial if you know you are inviting a character from another area to your Izakaya, and you will just have it ready to go when they arrive. These are stored in your fridge. The catch is, if you don't serve the dishes, they will be disposed of at the end of the shift. But there isn't any penalty for losing these dishes other than losing the ingredients you use to cook them. Cooking these dishes consumes time as well. I think it's 30 minutes for like every 2 or 3 dishes or something like that. Everything's around like this 30-minute interval type of deal in this game. I found this game. I want to plug my friend, y'all. I found this game from my friend Mari Angel. I'll link her down in the description. She was playing it and I was like, oh, that game is so cute. What is that? And she told me, I looked it up, wishlisted it, and then it was super cheap. Like, the game is so cheap. Like, normally I think it's only $6. DLC sometimes be like $2 or $3. So it's a very cheap, fun, cute game, and you can play it for a while. Like, I've ended the game, I've beaten it, I've beaten the original story, and yet I can still go back and build like relationships with other characters and stuff. So there's still like more you can do even after you finish the game, including getting that DLC if you so want to. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if any of these tips and tricks were helpful to you. Maybe this is stuff you already know, but maybe it helped you a little. I certainly hope so. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you would like to, if you like the content you've seen on the channel so far, and like the video if it was helpful, or you just like the video in general. It all helps in the end, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.